Today I will talk about supply chain risk management. It is one of my series of lectures on supply chain management. First, I will give introduction, then I'll talk about types of supply chain risk. Then I will talk about in detail risk identification and assessment. Then I'll talk about risk assessment matrix and key risk indicators. Then I will talk about risk mitigation strategies, monitoring and continuous improvement. Then I'll talk about lessons from global supply chain disruptions. Modern supply chains are vast, interconnected, and globally dispersed networks involving suppliers, manufacturers, logistic providers, distributors, and customers. While globalization and technological integration have improved efficiency and reduced costs, they have also increased exposure to risk. Global interconnectedness has increased exposure to systemic shocks, while competitive pressure demand efficiency. A disruption in one region can cascade across continents within days. Recent events such as COVID-19 pandemic, semiconductor shortages, trade wars, geopolitical conflicts, port congestion, cyber attacks, and climate-related disasters have exposed structural vulnerabilities in global supply chain. During these events, it is observed that organizations that prioritize efficiency over resilience have experienced severe operational and financial consequences. Supply chain risk management refers to the systematic identification, assessment, mitigation, and monitoring of risks that can disrupt the flow of goods, information, and finance across the supply chain. Supply chain risk management is no longer optional, it is a strategic necessity. These are the types of supply chain risk. This is an example of supply chain. There are various tiers of supplier and there are downstream customers. These customers may be other manufacturers downstream, and this is our location. So there may be supply risk, there may be operational risk, there may be demand risk, there may be external risk, and there may be strategic risk. Supply risks arise from disruptions or uncertainties related to suppliers, and these are the examples. Operational risks originate within the organization, and these are the examples. Demand risks occur when actual demand deviates from forecasts, and these are the examples. External risks are beyond organizational control, and these include natural disasters, pandemics, geopolitical conflicts, trade restrictions, port closure, climate change, and cyber attacks. These risks are often systemic and have high impact. Strategic risks arise from long-term business decisions, for example, offshoring to low-cost countries, lean inventory strategies, outsourcing critical component, just-in-time systems. While such strategies reduce costs, they may reduce flexibility and resilience. Now let us see in detail risk identification and assessment. Common tools and methods for risk identification and assessment include risk mapping workshops and supply chain mapping software, supplier audits, value stream mapping, failure mode and effect analysis, expected monetary value, Monte Carlo simulation, sensitivity analysis, scenario analysis and scenario planning, and stress testing. Supply chain risk mapping is the strategic visual process of documenting and analyzing an entire supply network, including suppliers, logistics, and facilities to identify vulnerabilities such as geographic bottlenecks, material scarcity, or ESG risk. Supply chain risk mapping boosts resilience by enabling proactive, targeted mitigation strategies and improving visibility across complex multi-tier dependencies. Key steps in process to map a supply chain. First of all, learn where your suppliers and their suppliers are located by working with your procurement teams starting with existing supplier list. Integrate supplier information from different sources using a spreadsheet or data platform. Conduct an initial risk assessment to help you prioritize where to focus your next steps, such as closer investigations or taking actions to address sustainability issues. Research your suppliers through additional tools and sources, example news articles. Collect information about what is happening at supplier work sites and research the inherent risk associated with the countries and sectors they operate in. Benefits of mapping the supply chain. It creates supply chain transparency and visibility. It identify, understand, and respond to inherent risk in supply chain. We know where to take action to address issues and protect workers. We know whether supply chain legislation are complied with, and we can report on ESG criteria and attract investors. This is an example I have taken from internet of supply chain mapping. Then next tool is supplier audit. A supplier audit in supply chain management is a systematic on-site or remote evaluation of a supplier's operations, quality systems, and manufacturing processes to ensure compliance with quality, safety, and regulatory standards. Supplier audit mitigates suppliers' risk like production delays, poor quality, and unethical practices, fostering better communication and strengthening long-term supplier relationships. Objective of supplier audit is to verify compliance with standards, assess supplier quality control, identify potential disruptions, and evaluate performance. Its benefits include enhanced product quality, reduced risk of supply chain disruptions, cost reduction from fewer defects, and increased customer satisfaction. This is the process of audit. These are the types of supplier audit: quality system audits, process audit, product audit, and compliance related to ESG audits. Then the next tool is value stream mapping. Value stream mapping in supply chain risk management is a visual, lean management technique used to map, analyze, and optimize the entire flow of materials and information from suppliers to customer. By identifying bottlenecks, dependencies, and inefficiencies, it helps organizations pinpoint, quantify, and mitigate risk, enhancing resilience and operational efficiency. The objectives of value stream mapping include identifying waste, improving lead times, enhancing quality, and reducing cost. Steps to implement risk-focused value stream mapping include, first of all, define the scope, map the current state, identify risk and waste, and create future state and act. There are various tools and techniques for value stream mapping. These are the tools. These are proprietary tools, and we can do data analysis using metrics like on-time delivery, cycle times, inventory turnover to prioritize high-risk areas. Benefits of value stream mapping include improved resilience, cost reduction, and increased speed. This is an example of value stream map for supply chain management I have taken from this internet site. Then failure mode and effect analysis. Failure mode and effect analysis in supply chain management is a proactive, team-based method used to identify potential failures in logistic, procurement, and production process. It assesses risk by evaluating severity, occurrence, and detection, calculating a risk priority number to prioritize mitigating actions. Key components of failure mode and effect analysis in SCM include process FMEA. It focuses on operational risks such as supplier delays, transportation failures, or inventory errors. and we calculate risk priority number, which is the multiplication of severity, occurrence, and detection. Then we take preventive actions. Steps for FMEA include, first of all, define scope, identify potential failures, analyze effects and causes, calculate risk priority number, and then we decide on mitigation and we review the process. Common supply chain failures analyzed using FMEA tool include supplier risk, logistic risk, information risk, and these are the benefits of using FMEA tool. Next tool is expected monetary value. Expected monetary value in supply chain management is a quantitative risk analysis technique calculated by multiplying the probability of a risk event, which is taken from 0 to 1, by its financial impact in terms of dollar or rupees to determine the average financial outcome of uncertain events. Expected monetary value calculations assist in decision making by evaluating potential risks or opportunities such as supplier delays or demand surges. Key aspects of expected monetary value include risk management and decision making. It helps in both the things. And this is how we calculate the expected monetary value by multiplication of probability and financial impact. Limitation include reliance on accurate probability estimations and can be subjective if risks are not correctly identified. This is an example. Next tool is Monte Carlo simulation. Monte Carlo simulation in supply chain management is a computational probabilistic technique used to model risk and uncertainty by running thousands of scenarios based on random sampling of input variables. And the variables used include demand and lead times, for example. It helps optimize inventory, predict demand, manage logistics, and assess supplier risk, providing a probability distribution of outcomes rather than a single point estimate. Key applications of Monte Carlo simulation in supply chain management include decisions related to inventory optimization, demand forecasting, logistics and route planning, and supplier risk management. Process include, first of all, we define the model, we establish the relationship between variables, we define the distributions, we assign probability distributions to uncertain inputs. Distributions may be normal distribution or uniform distribution or any other distribution depending on the situation. We run the simulations, that is, we generate thousands of random input sets and we analyze the outputs. We review the range of possible outcomes to make data-driven decisions. These are the benefits. Next tool or method includes sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis in supply chain management is what-if modeling technique that tests how variations in key inputs such as demand, transportation cost, or lead times impact critical outputs like profitability and service levels. It helps managers identify risk, enhance model robustness, and optimize network design by quantifying the effects of uncertainty. Common variables analyzed include fluctuations in demand, freight rates, raw material costs, production yields, and inventory carrying cost. Applications include applications in network design, risk management, and financial planning. Methodologies include scenario planning. I'll talk about scenario planning later in my present lecture, and simulation, which can be applied to digital twin models. Benefits include it provide a rough draft of project outcomes before committing the resources, allowing for the identification of robust high-performance solutions. By analyzing these factors, decision makers can determine which variables are critical and which are non-critical, focusing attention on factors that heavily influence the bottom line. Then next is scenario analysis. Scenario analysis in supply chain management is the practice of simulating what-if situations such as demand surges, supplier failure, or logistical disruptions within a virtual model to evaluate risk, cost, and performance. By testing these scenarios, businesses can proactively build resilience, optimize inventory levels, and make informed decisions, moving from reactive firefighting to strategic data driven planning. Key components and process of scenario analysis. First of all, we identify scenarios, that is, develop scenarios ranging from best case to worst case, including geopolitical issues, natural disasters, or labor shortages. We assess the impact using predictive analytics and digital twins, and then we develop the strategies. Common supply chain scenarios tested include supply disruptions, demand volatility, and logistic constraints. Benefits include it enhances resilience, there is improvement in decision making, there is cost optimization, and there is improved alignment. The similar thing is supply chain scenario planning. It is a process of modeling multiple potential failure disruptions such as pandemics, natural disaster, or geopolitical shifts to develop proactive, flexible strategies. By analyzing what if scenarios, companies move from reactive firefighting to strategic, data driven decision making, improving resilience, reducing cost, and maintaining service levels. Key components and steps include identification of risks, definition of scope and objectives, development of scenarios, analysis and comparison, and creation of contingency plans. Common scenarios to model include demand volatility, supply disruptions, logistic failures, economic or geopolitical changes. Benefits include increased resilience, cost optimization, improved decision making, enhanced customer service. Supply chain stress testing is a next tool. It is a simulation based strategic analysis that deliberately subjects a supply chain model to disruptions such as supplier failure, port closure, or demand surges to elevate resilience and recovery capabilities. It identifies vulnerabilities, bottlenecks, and financial risks, allowing firms to shift from cost optimized to disruption resilient models before crises occur. These are the core metrics which are taken into consideration, including time to survive and time to recover. We use digital twins, simulation, and quantitative modeling to mimic real world conditions. The common scenarios include supplier shutdown, logistic disruptions, demand surges. Benefits include identification of bottlenecks, quantification of risk, decision on mitigation, and stress testing enable organizations to move beyond reactive firefighting to a proactive data-driven resilient supply chain structure. As we saw, all these tools and methods, they are related to each other, and this is the summary of benefits from each of the tool. So first tool I described was risk mapping workshops and supply chain mapping software. It boosts resilience by being proactive because we have a visual image of supply chain. So we have a resilience supply chain. Using supplier audit, we mitigate supplier risk because it is audit of suppliers. Then using value stream mapping, it is a lean management technique. We identify bottlenecks, dependencies, and inefficiencies. Failure mode and effect analysis, it calculates risk priority number and it is a proactive risk mitigation tool. Expected monetary value, it determines the average financial outcome of uncertain events such as shipment delays or supplier bankruptcy. Monte Carlo simulation, it provides probability distribution of outcomes. It boosts resilience by being proactive. Sensitivity analysis, scenario analysis, and scenario planning, they are similar. They are a kind of what if modeling technique. Then stress testing, it deliberately subjects the supply chain model to disruptions. It identifies vulnerabilities, bottlenecks, and financial risks. So this is the summary. Then risk assessment metrics evaluate two dimensions. One is the likelihood of occurrence of the risk and the other is severity of risk. So a risk assessment matrix is a visual project management tool that rank risks by plotting their likelihood against the impact on a grid. Typically the grid is 3 by 3 or 5 by 5. This is an example of 5 by 5 grid. It helps to prioritize hazards using categorizing them as low, medium, or high risk to determine required mitigation actions. So these are the higher priorities, these are the medium priorities, and these are the low priorities. Then key risk indicators. Key risk indicators provide early warning signals. Monitoring of key risk indicators enhance proactive management. And these are some of the key risk indicators include supplier lead time variability, inventory turnover changes, geopolitical risk index, transportation delays, capacity utilization rates. So let us see in detail geopolitical risks. Geopolitical risk has become a critical volatile factor in supply chain management, with 82% of executives viewing it as a significant threat. And these are the various geopolitical risk indices. First of all is geopolitical risk and trade index, then time to recover, time to survive, supplier geographical concentration risk, alternative supplier availability, lead time variability, percentage of revenue exposed to high risk zones. Then risk mitigation strategies. Risk mitigation aims to reduce probability, impact, or both. Effective supply chain risk mitigation involve building resilience through diversification, enhanced visibility, and proactive planning. Key strategies include dual sourcing, increased inventory, use of AI-driven monitoring, conducting regular risk assessments, ensuring supplier financial stability, and developing contingency plans to handle disruptions quickly. So these are mitigation strategies. These include supplier diversification, increased visibility and monitoring of supply chain, inventory buffering, supplier relationship management, risk-based planning and simulation techniques, geographical diversification, operational flexibility, compliance and security. So, first of all, diversification of suppliers. Multi-sourcing reduce dependency risk. Advantage include flexibility, competitive pricing, reduce concentration risk. Disadvantages include higher coordination cost and smaller economies of scale. Then inventory buffer, safety stock absorb demand or supply shocks. And there is a trade-off. Higher inventory means higher holding cost and lower inventory means higher disruption risk. Flexible contracts. Contracts may include volume flexibility, shared risk agreements, force majeure clause, dual sourcing clause, digital supply chain visibility. We can use various digital technologies to increase the visibility in supply chain, and digital transparency improve response speed. Nearshoring and regionalization, firms are moving production closer to markets to reduce geopolitical and transportation risk. Benefits include shorter lead times, reduced political risk, and greater control. Costs include higher labor cost and capital investment. Then monitoring and continuous improvement. So first of all, let us see risk governance. There are various articles on internet about risk governance. So we should have a dedicated risk committee in our organization. We should have a chief risk officer in an organization, and we should make a cross-functional coordination, and we should have regular audits. There is a concept of control tower. Control towers provide end-to-end visibility of supply chain. There is real-time data integration. there is predictive analytics, and we have a coordinated decision making. So this is a concept of control towers in supply chain risk management. We should be monitoring and we should be improving in a continuous manner using real-time dashboards, AI-based alerts, supplier scorecards, and performance analytics. So let us see what lessons we got from global disruptions. So COVID-19 pandemic was a great disruption. Key lessons include over reliance on single reason is dangerous. Lack of visibility creates cascading failures, and essential goods require strategic reserves. Semiconductor shortage crisis. Automotive manufacturers cancelled chip order during COVID-19 downturn. When demand returned, capacity had shifted to consumer electronics. And lesson we got is that supply chain must integrate cross-industry capacity awareness. Then geopolitical conflict crisis. So trade wars and sanctions disrupt trade flows. Lessons include political risk assessment must be embedded in sourcing decisions. Climate and natural disasters like floods, earthquakes, and hurricanes frequently damage supplier facilities. Lessons include climate risk modeling must be integrated into network design. So, finally, organizations that integrate risk identification, assessment, mitigation, and continuous monitoring into strategic decision making are better positioned to survive and thrive in uncertain environments. This is all for today. Thank you very much.